What's up? What's happening? Welcome to a special edition of Pick Central, hosted by me, Hubs. I got Jack Mack in here. He's going to help me out with some college football in a little bit. Matthew Sluka news taking over the internet basically right now. We're going to get to baseball, your calls. The main guys are out right now. I'm doing a little help here. Before that, we also got Dukes in the booth. Do we also have Meek Phil is there as well? But we're going to start with our pals over at DraftKings. Give a shout out to them. TD, Tutty, taking it to the house for 6. Whatever you call a touchdown, one thing's for sure, touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. On the ground, in the air, from the special teams or defense, we don't care how they score them. We want to bet on touchdowns. I was on Jaden Daniels Monday night. That was beautiful. Anytime touchdown there. DraftKings Sportsbook, they're delivering. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown or how many touchdowns will be in a game. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Ready to do a touchdown dance on your own? New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code PICKCENTRAL, all caps PICKCENTRAL, one word. That's code PICKCENTRAL for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we're off and running in here. We got Jack Mack in here. College football. I was originally going to host this by myself. Thank God Jack Mack's here. Matthew Sluka news. So he is from my understanding, he was a star over at Holy Cross. He's a grad transfer at UNLV. It appears that he was promised $100,000 upon transferring to UNLV. They're off to a 3-0 start. They got a massive game against Fresno State on Saturday. They're 3-1. From looking at the polls, a win basically would get UNLV ranked. They're in like the 50s right now with votes, so this is a very big deal. Probably the best they've been playing in a long time, from my understanding.
They were pretty good last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if my mic's on. How about now?
Try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good now. Your mic's on?
No, your mic's not on, Dukes.
Dukes, your mic's not on.
I cannot hear you, Dukes.
Still no.
Is it on now?
Yep,
Yeah,
there you go.
Beautiful.
Our mic's on.
Yeah, man. What's up, Meek? No. He was a Holy Cross legend.
Holy Cross legend. Yep.
Legend.
He was a Long Island high school football legend. He tore up. He went to the same high school as Rhea and Glennie, I believe.
Sure.
And he tore up almost all of the D1 teams he played throughout his time at Holy Cross, including UConn. He put up disgusting numbers against UConn, essentially led to UConn firing Randy Edsall for a second time. They never fired him the first time. But
You like that you were a fan of that move.
Yeah, no, the Randy Edsall era needed to end.
So Sluka did you?
Yeah, no. Yeah, a former UConn player actually tweeted that UConn owes Sluka some money because they implemented the Jim Mora era, which has been really beneficial for UConn. But back to Sluka, I don't know if he won it last year, but he was almost about to. He almost won the Holy Cross Walter
Payton.
Walter Payton. Did he win it?
No, he's third-team All-American. Could have honestly left after last year, like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but he went back to Holy Cross, and then this year he hit the transfer portal. I thought he was going to get a little bit more looks, but he did not. He went to UNLV. I think he kind of bet on himself a little bit. Went to UNLV, thought, hey, I could play this G5 team that has a chance to make this new playoff. And then on top of it, he was going into UNLV for a quarterback competition. He won it. They beat Houston to start the season, which isn't the best of wins. Houston's probably one of the worst Power 4 teams out there right now, but still, Houston would be pretty good in the Mountain West right now. Then they go and beat Kansas on the road, a game UNLV probably should have lost by the box score metrics, but all that being said, they still won.
Yeah.
Sluka, then they won a third game, which I think was just against a crappy FCS team, as Dukes just pointed out. And now, last night in the middle of the night, not the middle of the night at Vegas, but around midnight, I think, he tweeted out, hey, I'm leaving UNLV. Thank you. I was not given what I was guaranteed. And everyone thought that had to do with NIL. Then this morning, a slew of reports came out that he was going in to the Barry Odom's office, NIL Collective's office, and saying, hey, I just won my first 3 games. I want more money. And then Barry Odom told him to kick rocks. This is the story that was told.
Barry Odom, head coach
of UNLV. That story was what was perpetuated by a few reporters this morning around 9 a.m. Those reporters, which we'll get to in a little bit, all have very serious connections to Barry Odom. It was pretty clear Barry Odom was the source. After that, it then became very clear, especially to me, and then Sluka's dad went to ESPN, and Sluka's NIL agent went to ESPN and said, hey, we've gotten almost no money from UNLV. We barely had anything paid for, even his moving expenses, because he had to move from, obviously, the East Coast to Vegas. They weren't paying for his living expenses, whatnot. So the narrative changed a lot from 8 a.m., where there was people saying, oh, he quit on the team.
Sure.
He just wanted more NIL money.
Yeah. Selfish guy, all this. Yeah,
and it's very important to note that he's doing this before he plays his fourth game, which is when you would lose his last year of eligibility or your chance to redshirt, because redshirts are allowed to play in 4 games.
Yep.
So I think what it appears from Sluka's point of view is, and his story is, he went to Barry Odom, and this kind of goes back to the whole NIL issue where there's a billion things. There's people, there's the NIL collective, there's your agent, there's your offensive coordinator, there's your coach. They all have different numbers, but he was saying, hey, I haven't gotten paid. What's going on? And I think they shifted to say, hey, we'll just give you game checks, essentially. And they were like, okay, that's fine. But then he never got any game checks. And this is Sluka's point of view and what's being reported. And now he essentially said, okay, I'm not getting paid at all. I still want to keep my year of eligibility. He's been okay. I don't think he's been as great as expected. He has a 46% completion percentage.
He runs well,
He
right?
runs well, though, but I think there was a lot more hope for his passing ability.
Sure. Dual threat.
That being said, he's above
3-0 still.
He's above average G5 quarterback that has the potential to be on a team that can make the college football playoff because of this guaranteed spot.
Right.
If UNLV won out and won the Mountain West, I think there would be, without a doubt, they'd be there, except for maybe Boise State.
Right.
Because it's like, how would you rate Boise State's loss to Oregon, which was a close game, compared to UNLV beating Kansas, who's not as good as we thought, in Houston? And then we'll see what happens. All that being said, UNLV's down a quarterback. Their backup was a quarterback at Campbell, and I think his last name's Haj Williams. See how he does. I think Odom is a classic guy, next man up. I would assume Odom doesn't care that much, but he did get in front of this story, and then Sluka and his team, which is mainly his family, and then his NIL representative made it clear he was screwed over. So we'll see how UNLV responds.
Crazy.
It's a lot of he said, she said. This is definitely the first time it's really happened on a major stage.
This is ugly.
It's ugly, and there's always stuff like this has probably happened before. Specifically last year, Quidshon Junkins, who's the running back at Ohio State
From Ole Miss.
Essentially got promised more.
Okay.
And then he kind of left,
Yeah.
which is his right to do, whatnot. But that was after the season. In season, this has never really happened.
Right.
And also, him not getting his money is certainly a big deal. It was around $100K, which is probably the rate for a pretty good quarterback.
Did I see that it was a verbal agreement for $100K? Because that's got to be in writing. I'm not taking UNLV's side.
That's
but
something
we got to get that shit in right. That's a big number. That's a big deal. You're bringing in a quarterback to lead your team. Like that shit's got to be.
I can tell you for certain though, $100K isn't that much for a quarterback, even in
right. Like
G5.
Like Cam Ward got millions to go to
Cam Ward, I can say with 100% certainty, is outside of before in the NIL era. Cam Ward is the highest paid quarterback or highest paid player in the history of college football.
Yeah, he gets more than double or triple probably what this guy's getting for this year.
Oh yeah, I would say no. I think Cam Ward got paid a disgusting amount of money, and I've heard from multiple people that he is the highest paid player in the history of college football.
Yeah, like per game, if you want to do the game check thing, like Cam Ward's probably $400K.
No, yeah, he's getting NFL, and I mean, to be honest, he's been worth it.
Oh,
especially for Miami's
football. Top 10. They have an easy schedule,
and they were gonna have that Albany quarterback be their quarterback, which would have kind of been an issue for them.
Right.
And Kim Ward's been unbelievable for them, so
Yeah.
he's been worth it. Sluka's probably been worth his contract.
Sure.
But I think
You're right. 100K in the grand scheme of things isn't that much.
I know, like there's like a
But like to a guy, like you want to get your 100K, like for the person.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
I'm
on the
not
grand scheme of
saying-
the quarterback's not a big deal, but like for Sluka, you got to get your 100K.
And also, I'm not saying 100K is not a lot of money. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in terms of the market value, he's like that's mid-value G5 quarterback,
Sure.
maybe a little bit more. But it is with the contract and writing thing. There's a lot of this is where we would have to have a true NIL expert on.
Right.
What's legal?
Right.
Is like
It's just tough to prove verbal.
There are contracts, right? I do know there are contracts, and people, if you don't fulfill them. And then there's another issue here, and it may come out. I don't know this for sure for Sluka, but, if there's a contract, did he fulfill everything? Did he go to the right amount of signings and whatnot?
Right, like a charity thing.
It's kind of like if someone leaves a company and
Mm-hmm.
they're suing, the company will try to find one little thing and be like, hey, you didn't do this. We're not paying out your contract. Yada, yada, yada. That is not, I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Sluka.
But
I'm
like
just saying in general.
anything's possible for why this 100K didn't get paid out.
And I would assume UNLV is going to come back with, and I also think I wouldn't be surprised at this point if there's lawyers involved too.
Yeah.
Now, 100K is a lot of money, but it's not, this isn't like earth shattering or whatnot, but he wants his money and also he wants his eligibility. It's weird because Sluka's, I think, 23, 24. His NFL prospects aren't high.
No.
However, next year, I don't know what he's going to get on the open market next year. But here's the thing. A lot of schools think they're going to have a quarterback, and then spring comes around, and they don't have one.
Right,
the guy they thought was good left and leaves, or he wasn't good in spring and whatnot. I mean, look at Oklahoma right now. Like, there's a lot of situations like that. Not to say that Sluka would be good enough for Oklahoma, but there are situations like that where you may end up saying, hey, here's a guy who has played in big games, is 24, but now is the bigger issue is, what does this say about UNLV? Will this have bigger effects on them? Are other players not getting paid? I don't know.
Yeah. There's a couple things. We talked about, you glossed over potentially making the playoff. They do play Boise in October. So like that's irrelevant to what we're talking about. But UNLV does play Boise October.
I forgot about that. So that will be essentially and then obviously the Mountain West has a championship game, but that will be a huge game. Now, I think it will be interesting from UNLV's perspective, just to say they were favored against Fresno State last night.
Yeah, they still might be. I thought
They're not.
It's a
plus
1-point
1.5.
spread. Okay, but it's very close then.
But it flipped 4 to 5 points. That's a big move.
Yeah.
That goes to show that he is worth something, especially in the market. I did know, I did hear from some professional bettors that I trust that like they got the information a little bit earlier before it got announced, and they immediately bet Fresno State. So he is important to the
Professional
team.
bettors?
Yeah.
I have here on draft.
Professional bettors?
I have
UNLV?
What?
Like they knew stuff about UNLV?
Well, I actually, I know that is
They're
funny.
favored.
Because they also, wasn't it last year they were part of that fucking bowl game that was crazy against Kansas?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
But this guy got it literally the guy that I was talking to got it 5 minutes before it was announced. So this wasn't like a.
Yeah.
I think this all really happened. Like really, it got accelerated over the past 24 hours, because I think he was like he hasn't gotten paid. I think they had a bye week last week.
Okay.
And I think he didn't get paid, and he was like, hey, like, what the fuck's going on? And then his dad got involved, his agent got involved, and then, but this is like, UNLV is going to come back hard, because they are going to say this is a better look for them.
Yep.
Because UNLV has an NIL collective with money. They're going to be a player in the G5 for a long time. You can go to UNLV and become an NFL superstar. There's nothing stopping you. But if they're not paying,
Right. Then no one's going to go there.
why would they go? But
Right.
the other situation is, what about the other players? They have some pretty talented players on the team.
Sure.
Are they getting paid?
Yeah.
Maybe Barry Odom was like, and the NIL collective said, hey, like, we're short on money. He's like, all right, fuck Sluka. I don't know this for sure.
Right,
but
you're just throwing it out there. Yeah,
throwing
yeah.
it out there.
Yeah.
The only thing I do know for sure is Sluka feels as if he's been paid nothing and got screwed over.
He said, she said at the moment. We'll see who's right. I will say UNLV is favored. They're -1.
I saw somebody put in a +1.
Okay, they are -1, and right now, if that stays, I like UNLV. That line screams UNLV to me. No one's going to take them with Sluka out. That backup, I'll take UNLV. I'm going to put that in early.
Fresno's an interesting. Fresno actually has a pretty good damn quarterback. Mikey Williams, I think his name is, or Mikey Williams is the player that got like arrested.
I see Keene as
Mikey
Fresno.
Keene. He's mobile. He's pretty good.
1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Yeah. He threw
They have a very good receiver. It looks like.
And he threw a couple of those picks against Michigan, which, I mean, obviously,
sure.
top. Like, when Will Johnson is picking you off for a pick 6, and then you're playing UNLV, it's like a big difference.
As long as everyone else is getting paid on that team and Sluka leaves,
I don't think they care.
then I think this is going to be used as a rallying point for them on Saturday.
The thing is, I haven't
is a
seen
team
a
that I
lot
like
of things from these players on social media. You would think sometimes players would come out and be like, don't worry, like things are good in here. Or they would even come out and, I mean, look at what happened after Jaden Daniels left Arizona State. They took everything from his fucking locker.
Right.
So that's why I'm
No
like,
one's saying anything at the moment. None of us.
I mean, I have to. Players don't use Twitter as much as they used to,
Sure.
and then also you'd have to kind of probably go through their Instagram stories.
Right. Okay. But nothing publicly to this
And
moment.
also, it's 9:18 a.m. there.
Yeah.
So a lot of these players, they may just be getting
They're finding out the news, being like,
yeah,
you don't have a
because
quarterback
I don't know
anymore.
what their daily schedule is,
Right.
but it's 9:18 a.m. out there. A lot of what happened was like 5 in the morning out there. But I will say for sure, Barry Odom got on this story quick and gave the story to a guy that it was an ex-St. Louis, Missouri football high school coach, and now works for 24/7 Sports. Him and Barry were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Odom, old coach, I think, of Mizzou at one point, or at least he was the DC there. And then the other woman that reported that he asked for $300K has a weekly show with Barry Odom.
Got it.
It's pretty clear that Barry Odom almost, but that's Barry Odom's side of the story, and maybe it's possible now. Sluka got paid no money and then was like, hey, actually pay me more.
Yeah. After the wins
Now
against
I'm
Kansas
not
and
saying
all
that happened,
Yeah.
but I am saying that
There's a lot of doorways.
Well, why would Barry Odom go out and say this, knowing that there's a chance, or not even a chance? He has to be smart enough to know that the reports would be met with people saying, "Hey."
Right.
Also, I want to say this about Sluka and like his passing. It's like he hasn't had the best passing season. It is also 3 games in with less than like 50 passes. So like to say that he wouldn't become a better passer for UNLV, obviously he's
just not lighting the world on fire at the moment.
He's not Mahomes, but like he is a great fucking running quarterback.
Yeah, his running stats are very good.
Yeah, and from my point of view with the whole thing, with like if he with the pay, it's almost like they wanted to make sure that he was the starter to begin with. Like if you're not going to pay someone $100K, that's the backup, and they were just like kept on pushing.
The only thing about that is that's
Sluka's story kind of checked out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
the only thing about that is like
I get it from Sluka's side though. Like, listen, dude, you have a deadline. You got to decide this now, because if you feel like you're getting screwed over and you want to get yours, you got a red shirt now and you got to get out of there. You got to look out for you. Look out for you before anybody else.
He has 1 year left where like he's gonna be like he's like probably a good college quarterback.
Here's
already played an extra year that he probably didn't need to play at Holy Cross with no NIL.
Yeah.
Now he's like I want to make my money.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for being selfish.
No, I don't even think it's being selfish. Like any one of us in this situation, I think, would do the same thing if presented like, hey, dude, you should do this, because once this deadline hits that you've played your 4th game, you're stuck. And then if this team has every right to screw you, it seems.
So his PFF grades so far this season, bite your tongue, Meek. I know you fucking probably jerk off to PFF hate, but his passing grades, which gives a little bit more of a better look at maybe there's drops and whatnot. So his passing grade for the first game was 71.1, which is like a very good game. Then his second game against Kansas. Oh, wait. Actually, this is against Utah Tech. His passing grade was a 49.4, which is bad. Then his passing grade for his game against Kansas was a 64.1, which is around average. PFF paints a look at Sluka as his passing, like Duke said, is not as bad as his completion percentage suggests.
Well, 'cause
his
also, I think-
average depth of target is also 17.6 yards
I
down
like
the
that.
field, which is
Throws the ball.
very far down.
Hey,
the
lets it
field.
loose.
I think that when you have less than 50 like passing attempts in a season, it's like the difference between he's 21 to 48 from what I'm seeing. It's like bump that to 24 out of 48. Then you have it tells a whole different.
Yeah. It's a small sample size, no doubt.
It's too small to
No
like
doubt.
yeah, exactly.
I think just to wrap this up, I don't want to spend too much
Yeah,
time. I'm sure the
exactly.
callers want to move us on. But this is two things. This, first of all, the biggest issue we've had with NIL since. Like, it's very messy. This feels like the messiest. And it's only 100K. There's a lot to Sluka, obviously. But in the grand scheme of things, this could be a bigger deal with a Power 5 or a Power 4, whatever it is. So we'll see if, like, other issues come about with NIL, how messy it is. And it feels like there's a lot of...
Yeah, this could be.
It's a Wild West, it seems like, and this kind of story doesn't shock me, and it feels like it's the first of many to come. The other part of it is, before NIL, imagine how many deals like this happened, where, like, because there was no one, you couldn't make it public. If you were Sluka, and this is happening 8 years ago, right, and someone screwed you over, you couldn't make that public, you'd be suspended.
Yeah, no.
So, like, how many businesses or, collectives that weren't collectives took advantage of players 10 years ago trying to pay them when it was illegal because they could get away with it. You're not going to make it public. Oh, so that's what I thought of.
I think that's possible, but also like that would be known within circles, and it would damage your recruiting reputation so much.
You have to think it happened, though. If this is happening legally.
I'm not saying it didn't happen, but
Yeah.
I do know like college football is a very tight knit community, and recruiting is so like it's a $1 billion industry. It is so competitive. One little mess up like that can ruin your entire
for sure.
reputation.
No one's going to go to you. It gets out.
And then also it's like, hey, if you're a big recruit, that means you know a lot of other big recruits. Like everyone knows everyone now.
Sure.
And then parents know each other and be like, hey, what do you hear about UNLV? And it's like, well, actually they screwed over Mikey.
Right.
And then they're like, that could happen to my kid. Actually, let's go to Boise State instead. I
hear that.
Now, that is a good point, though. I would assume it's happened.
Yeah.
I assume it's still happening now. I haven't heard that story, but I assume when that players were definitely taken advantage of way more back then. That will always be the big question about like how much was it going on back then.
Yeah.
We look at a Cam Ward now. Like how much was Johnny getting paid? How much was Cam Newton getting paid? We know that Cam Newton was offered $180,000. Now, if you could turn that down, how much did Auburn offer?
Mm-hmm.
But a Cam Newton now would be a lot more than $180,000 because
Record setting.
right, yeah, he would be very similar to a Cam Ward or his whatnot,
Higher, even. Yeah.
yeah, higher, yeah, it would be crazy. So, yeah, no, it's the Wild Wild West, and I know you want to move on, but it'll be interesting to see if this is a domino effect where this is the first story and then bigger stories come out,
100%.
or this is just a one-off. Everyone else at UNLV is getting paid.
I would lean the former. I think there's going to be more shit to come out.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. It's interesting because, we're in the middle of the season. Like this is
It's
difficult.
nuts.
This is difficult. A difficult. Wait, this doesn't really happen
No.
in other sports.
No.
Because if you don't get paid, then the unions like.
You just get paid. That's what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. There's no.
There's never. There's money to be spent.
Yeah, the only way you
Everyone
would
has
not
money.
be paid, it would be a situation where you got arrested or something, and then lawyers.
Dude,
get
like no joke, the closest thing to something like this happening is what actually just happened with baseball. Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah.
You see that? Rowdy Tellez,
That was
4
crazy.
plate appearances away from a $200,000
the
bonus.
union can't be happy about that.
No.
The players' union must be throwing a fit.
Also, yeah, like it's the Pirates. It's so obvious. It's such a cheap team. Like obviously the Pirates did this 6 days away from the season being over.
I'm shocked. Why didn't they just do it?
Also, he's a vet too. Rowdy Tellez has bounced around. He's been with Toronto. I think he's with another team before this. That's a brutal story. And Rowdy Tellez not a big moneymaker. I don't know what his career earnings are, but he has never gotten a big contract to my mind.
200K to Rowdy Tellez would
is
be a lot of money.
That's money he was expecting to come in, and he was like checking his bank account, like, oh, cool. It hit.
Also, the bad PR of that for the
Nutting
Pirates
just doesn't give a fuck.
They just don't care
Nutting-
because
Nutting
they've
just
gotten
doesn't
millions of dollars of bad PR now.
Oh yeah,
They just don't care.
doesn't care.
Yeah,
Doesn't care. Because at the end of the day, that guy's bottom line, they make money hand over fist every year, despite what they're maybe even reporting. Also this year with Paul Skeens, I'm sure they were packing out the stadium.
And they're like, hey, who cares? Like, I even made money when this team sucked. Next year, they're going to be a little bit better. So it's like,
yeah, 100%. And also, like in his mind, he's like, who gives a fuck about Rowdy Tellez? We have Paul Skeens. Like,
also DFAing someone last week of the season, just like an ultimate slap in the face. Like you couldn't have done this like in August when maybe you could latch on to a contender.
Yep.
Like,
no, it's just blatantly obvious. They realized someone went up to Bob Nutting and was like, "Yo, you know how close this is to 200K? We need 200K." And he goes, "Okay, cut him." Like that's just what happened. Like he was alerted to this a few days ago. And he's like, gone. Doesn't even care. They're all just numbers to him. They're not players.
it's not like Rowdy Tellez was like good. Like they could, like I said, they could have cut him in July or not.
100%.
Like,
Yeah,
but at this point, they might as well just give him a 200K.
Nutting didn't even know Rowdy was on the team, and then someone was like, "Dude, you're about to pay this guy $200,000 extra for this." He goes, "Are you kidding me? Gone. Absolutely. See ya." To the curb. You're a Mets fan. I always wonder how big of a Mets fan are you in your like fandom rankings? Are the Jets above?
Jets are above, but I would say I'm a.
And I'm not going to judge whether you say 2, 3, or 4. I'm generally just curious.
No. That's a completely fair question. I mean, I think even like Meek can back me up. Like I'm a very big Mets fan.
I think you're a big. I think you're arguably, from my point of view, the Mets might be your favorite team.
No, the Jets will always be.
Really?
But
I thought you liked the Mets better.
But I will say my dad likes the Mets better, so I like that relationship with him. He cares about the Mets more. He likes the Jets too, but but I will say, I mean, like I knew Meek before he worked here. I know you did too. Like we knew each other virtually, but we talked a lot about the Mets. That's how I initially found him.
Got it.
And also, I would say, but all that being said, big Mets fan. I would say like I try to watch almost every game of the year, but I probably watch 75% of them. The only thing is, in this office, we have 3 of the biggest Mets fans like in the fucking world. Oh, actually 4 with cable.
Yeah, so
actually 5. But like, I would probably.
That's almost why I asked the question, because I hear like louder. I feel like
I rank below them in terms of like if you want. I'm not a big fan of ranking fandom.
I'm not either.
I know you're not.
I get fucking shit on for being a Packer Yankee fan. I don't.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But what I'm saying is, as a fan though, I know those guys are like so much more. Like the We Gotta Believe crew. Like, it's crazy because I grew up in Connecticut, right? I was the only Mets fan in town except for one kid. But then you come here and, like, you have 7 of the biggest Mets fans you've ever met, which I like a lot because it's, like, it's nice to have Mets fans. But, yeah, I mean, I like the Mets a lot.
Okay, cool. So their situation, big loss by Diamondbacks to counter how bad of a loss that was for the Mets last night. Big win for the Braves. It's very, very tight.
Yeah, and
play
then
tonight. The weather's
Braves,
come in.
The Braves weather machine is working, of course, so they can have Chris Sale pitch twice against.
Bad situation for the Mets, no doubt. So
and then Lindor, of course, has this back injury. He's walking like he just got out of a P Diddy party. I know it's like it's.
Should we
it's
get Frank?
No, we should not.
No, not.
I will say.
No, don't do that to me.
My first thought.
Don't do that to me.
What's going on?
My first thought when it was going bad was work's going to be unbearable tomorrow. And I get we have the luckiest.
Screaming when I walked in.
We have the luckiest job in the world. It's amazing. It's just sometimes when the Mets and Dolphins are going bad, Frank can be a lot. That's it. I'm not complaining about my job.
Sometimes when the Mets and Dolphins are going bad, they are always going bad.
They could be going good and it's still bad.
Yeah,
It's
never good.
My thing is, I think I'm probably at this point, and I understand why KFC was tweeting like he was last night. I understand why Meek was and whatnot. I feel as if, and I think this is probably because I look at baseball from so much more of a betting perspective than not.
Okay.
That loss to me was bad, but it was like, okay, I think they're just going to rehash, go back. But I understand.
It also helped the Diamondbacks lost.
And but I do understand the situation at hand. You know, you have Chris Sale tonight, and
Sale against Peterson.
And then the rain's coming in,
and you might get Chris Sale on Monday if it's
also this
Monday.
has happened a billion times. It's almost like post-traumatic stress
Sure.
disorder. Like I get why they were reacting that way. Now,
Phil, chime in too.
I mean, it's not a good situation. It's not a good situation. It's not a bad situation.
So I'm looking at the weather. They're not playing tonight. If this holds up, this is 90% from 4 p.m.
things are bad. Things are bad. That hurricane that's going into
It's a Cat 5, I think. I saw
Yeah.
The trajectory is crazy. It goes left and then zoom right through Florida, Georgia.
It's a Cat 5.
Cat 5.
Roaches
That
was
bitch
like,
is a Cat 5.
Cat 5, baby.
No. Meek is right. No, it is, and like I know people in Tampa and whatnot that are like they're getting ready to like really like leave town and whatnot because it's coming up that side of Florida in the Gulf and whatnot, then up to like
Yeah, it
Georgia.
just makes a fucking
Which then like the MLB has to. Meek had a great tweet. It's like the MLB needs to figure this the fuck out.
Yeah, what do you do? So, and obviously the Braves are hosting the Royals this weekend.
That's the other point
and
of it,
that's
too.
that could be also depending what happens with the Royals and the Nats in a few days. Like that could matter for the Royals big time. It also might not, which would be great for the
Because
Royals.
the Twins are falling apart,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but then I mean you have it's all jumbled. And you know whether you're going to host the game or whatever.
Yep.
All that shit
So
comes into play.
think of it this way. So the storm,
Royals and Tigers tied, and then there's Twins are two back.
Okay, go ahead, Meek.
the Hurricane's supposed to strike Atlanta like Thursday into Friday.
Yep.
One of the Mets going to leave Atlanta. One of the Royals going to come to Atlanta. Everyone's affected by this, like outside of the Braves. The Braves do not care when they play because
Right.
they don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, of course, because the Braves weather machine works at perfect times all the time. They're probably in cahoots with the Saudis, and they have a weather machine, and they're making sure that they are going to make the playoffs in the best way that they can. And then on top of it, yeah, that's a great point by Meek. How do the Mets get to Milwaukee?
Yeah, but are we gonna fly out of Atlanta at like 2:00 on Friday? To
No,
play an 8
though,
o'clock game?
they're going to put them on a. You know what? The Braves are going to be like, we'll pay for your Greyhound bus, and then they'll bus them to fucking Nashville, and then they'll fly from there.
No, get on the Amtrak, the 48-hour Amtrak now and take.
That's a really good point. That's
Yeah.
a really good point.
Get in that Amtrak, baby.
Get on that Amtrak.
Before we get to callers,
Yeah.
I hate to go back to the well, but there's been new Sluka news. Did you see this yet, Jack, by Ross Dellinger?
What did Ross say?
Hit it quick. Yep.
We'll 1 minute on it.
Yeah, go.
Rob Stein, CEO of Blueprint Sports, which operates UNLV's collective. Hang up the phone. Tells Yahoo Sports that the collective never agreed to a $100,000 deal with QB Matthew Sluka and made a payment of $3,000 to Sluka, and we're discussing a monthly payment of $3,000 before QB's decision this week. And then, if you're listening to this audio, just go to YouTube and read the rest of the tweets.
Sluka's agent, Marcus Cromartie, who is the guy that contacted ESPN this morning and said that Sluka hasn't been paid, first introduced himself via email to UNLV collective officials in late August, Sine says, who's the CEO of Blueprint Sports. Interesting thing about Blueprint Sports is the original founder of Blueprint Sports is the Nevada Secretary of State now.
Jesus Christ.
I learned that this morning. That may have nothing to do with anything.
Or everything.
Yes, or everything. Like, this could go deep.
That
This
was
is now,
crazy.
Just so we know, just so where we started, and we thought we like had like the story, like kind of the story, and we were like, this is a he said, she said. This is now in phase 3 where we got absolutely nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Since the beginning of the episode.
Absolutely.
Now it's just been an even bigger
He said, she said.
No.
No doubt.
So-
All right, so we're going to take some calls?
Take some callers. I'll load them
Everyone
up.
be nice.
Nick, you wanna-
Doing our best here.
So, how about Matthew Judon coming for the Rizzler yesterday? What the fuck was that?
I didn't see that.
What are the callers? The callers are going to be mean. I almost said. It
don't know.
sounded like I said colors.
Matt's on the line. He has some college football picks.
Let's do it. What's up, Matt?
Hey, what's up, boys? Marty told me if I got my first pick right, I could call back. I got that right. I got my second pick right.
What was your first pick?
I had Indiana over UCLA -3. That was an easy cover. And
Nice.
then last week I gave out North Texas -7 over Wyoming.
Me Machine.
Wyoming's bad, man.
Yeah. I'm targeting bad teams this year, and it's been working pretty well. So this one I'm going to go Liberty -3 over App State. I think App State's just a broken team all around.
I really like that pick. I already bet Liberty -3.5 earlier in the week. I think that line doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because App State's defense is Swiss cheese, and Liberty's hasn't had the greatest start to the season, but they've been good. And also, I mean, what Liberty did to ECU last week was they just kind of ran through them. And I think they could be able to do the same thing to App State on Saturday. I already took it. It feels a little suckery,
Feels
but
like a trap, but
I would just be
targeting these, and I
shocked.
think they work.
And also,
Yeah.
the quarterback edge is huge.
Massive. And I took ECU money line last week, but they got bested for sure. I did have a comment. I was curious. You said that Ward was the highest paid NIL. Didn't Nico make like $8 million with Tennessee?
Yeah, I think I heard that it may be more.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Because
and then one more comment, and I'll get off the line. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I think Nico did get that, but Nico's was over obviously a long period.
Right.
Of
This
time.
is just for 1 year for Cam.
But I think Cam's may have even approached that because Cam was going to get probably a $12 million contract in the NFL, and they needed it guaranteed, and Miami really needed a quarterback. So, but anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So last comment. I'm a University of Nevada, Reno alum, big Mountain West guy, and UNLV should be able to pay this no problem. They have so much money from their collective. I don't understand this at all. I think even without Sluka, I've been betting UNLV all year and going into last year. This go-go offense is something special. I think Marion can probably plug in another quarterback and keep it rolling. So I think -1 might be the play still this week.
I think that I really like that play. I think it's gonna be they're gonna rally around Sluka leaving, coach getting him going, Odom. I like it. I like UNLV.
He brought up a really good point, and it's something that I should have brought up earlier. UNLV does have this money, like the guys.
So does that lead you to believe that maybe
Fertitta brothers who started the UFC, who have unlimited money now,
they're
like the number one booster of UNLV.
So would that lead you to believe that maybe UNLV is telling the truth?
Possibly.
100K is nothing for them.
Yeah, no, he's right, and especially in as a Nevada alum, he understands. Like, I mean, Nevada's actually does pretty well in this, but 100K there. That's why I was really kind of surprised he only got 100K as a quarterback from UNLV, because that UNLV has a lot of money.
He don't need it. I know his talent. He don't need it.
Army -13.5 is well over Temple, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Meek, who's next?
Moisty Turtle, you want to talk about the Bengals?
Okay, hit the Bengals.
No, yeah, the Bungles more like it, Dukes. Hubs and Jack, I know that you guys aren't on the show as much. I was expecting Marty and Ev. I'll just say this. I don't think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. Their defense is fucking horrible. I'm not glad, I guess, but imagine they beat the Chiefs and then we put up the exact same game against the Commanders. People would be like, oh, they're fine. No, they're not fine. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 interceptions. We got gifted a chance at winning that game, and we lost. Our defense sucks. We let DJ Reader go, or he's injured, sorry. BJ Hill go. Jesse Bates go the year before that. Our defensive line is injured. I can't deal with it.
Brown's now gone for the year on the O-line.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, Amarius Mims is going to step in. He's a good player.
Yeah, but he's
I'm
not
really
Brown.
I'm not as much worried about the offense. And I honestly think, like, obviously it's very optimistic and biased, but people saying that we're going to split the series with the, like, Ravens and Steelers, that's very optimistic to me.
Tough to say that when you're 0-3. Yeah, I don't know how you can be confident.
Yeah, no, and I'm a realistic fan. Like, I have a Jeremy Hill jersey. I'm not some bandwagon fan. I'm 24. Yeah, I'm 24 years old. Like, I don't know. I think it's time for the Bengals to a little bit face the music. I don't know if that's firing not Zach Taylor. I think it starts at the top. Our general manager's a fucking idiot. We've lit the last 3 drafts on fire after Jamar Chase.
Would you?
It's just.
We were on yesterday, and I asked. It didn't really get answered, but it was like, who would be your guys' pick to be the first head coach fired? And Peterson obviously is a top candidate, but if Zach Taylor loses to Carolina on Sunday, and they're 0-4. How is Zach Taylor surviving? There's so many slow starts for this team, and the only thing they really have to hang their hat on, like they beat that one win over Mahomes and all that, but man, 0-4 with how they look in that
championship loss.
The thing that I want to see about it, fellas,
one play away from
the thing I want to say is that the Burrow slander can't, like, he leads the entire AFC in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and touchdown to interception ratio. Marty saying that he could have won them the game is like, I understand that, like, he could go nuclear and go Jaden Daniels style, like Jaden Daniels did. But if you have to ask your quarterback to do that every fucking week, that's just not going to happen.
You just shouldn't need 40 points to beat the Commanders.
Exactly. You shouldn't need 40 points to beat some of the, like, the defense doesn't even need to be like it has been, like, 2 or 3 years ago in our Super Bowl run, and then the year after that. Like, it really doesn't need to be that good.
Yeah, but, the way that Daniels carved them up, that just can't happen. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about it, because I don't want to – I mean, it was kind of a struggle to call in. I wanted to talk to Marty, and I don't even want to say Marty's right because they might make the playoffs, but that's who I've been talking to. I have a Bengals Super Bowl ticket for, like, $7,000. It's an 8-leg parlay. It had Alex Pereira and Umar in it.
8-leg parlay?
Yeah.
Wait. So you hit the first 7 legs.
Is it to win 7 or you risk 7?
$10 for $7,000.
Okay.
And you won the first 7 legs?
Yep.
That's
Fucking unbelievable. The cash out was $220 before the Patriots game. Went down to $120. It's at $80 now. Obviously, I'm not fucking cashing out of it, but holy shit, demoralizing. I hate cheering for this team. They're so cheap.
I mean, the Bengals are like 50-50 shot to make the playoffs.
I don't know about that.
So they're plus 115, minus 140 not to.
I mean,
Exactly.
I here's the thing. At the end of the day,
Good
you
odds,
still have
though.
Joe Burrow. It's like you have a top 5, depending how you rank.
and they've
quarterback.
started slow in the past and made the playoffs.
Yeah,
They've done this before.
And also, I mean, also the Ravens started slow, and the Steelers. I mean, who would you bet to have a better record at the end of the year right now, the Bengals or the Steelers? That's an interesting question.
You get a 3-game lead with the
that's
Steelers, obviously, but
That's
like,
an
Like the
interesting one.
Steelers are plus 135 not to make the playoffs, minus 160 to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like the Steelers have.
those odds reflect to me though that the Vegas is not giving up on Cleveland, and they are not so sure about the Steelers. That's what that shows.
Oh, and then the Cleveland's playing bad also helps them.
For sure. I'll say this.
Yeah.
If the Bengals beat Carolina on Sunday, and I sure hope they do for your sake, and then they're 1-3 going hosting Baltimore. That Baltimore game is your swing game. You win that game, season's back on, good to go. You lose that game, you're 1-4. The season's over. For all things considered. So that game will come down to your season comes down to Baltimore in 2 weeks, assuming you beat Carolina. So that's it. You'll know how this team is in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And the last thing I do want to say, because I did leave a voicemail when I saw the Mets loss last night, dude. You do not have to play that at all. I was mad at Meek.
I won't.
Meek, dude, how do you think that Joe Burrow got carried by his defense that Super Bowl run? He had 9 sacks against him in the Titans game, bud. What are we
How does it
fucking
make him?
Your voice is ridiculous.
Sorry.
Goodness me.
How is him getting sacked 9 times a credit to him?
Because he fucking won the game.
Because his defense played great.
Here is my counter to that when you brought that up yesterday. That was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm losing track of the days. When I think of like a defense carrying a quarterback to the and win the Super Bowl, I think of Denver Broncos Peyton Manning. Like that team.
Yes.
When Peyton had nothing left.
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, sure. Right. But like that's 2000, right? That year's when that happened? More modern, it was 2016 with Peyton. I think of that kind of team. That's a defense carrying a quarterback to the Super Bowl. Peyton had nothing. That team had no business winning the Super Bowl, but that's how good that defense was. I don't really think of more of that Bengals team being carried. I think they were just both good.
I don't even
good
think
units.
people in real time were like, wow.
No,
like,
because Joe Burrow smokes a cigar and we all think he's the coolest person ever.
I mean, he's pretty
He also,
cool.
yeah,
Bro.
he's pretty good, cool. He's pretty fucking good,
Pretty
too.
fucking cool, Meek. Like,
Yeah, he's pretty
I
cool.
don't know, man.
I do think like he is playing good this year, and it's more on a defense being bad, but that's what evens out.
Cool.
Yeah. No, that's it, fellas.
Well, I appreciate the call. Sorry I'm not Marty Mush, but I appreciate the call.
Oh, no, it's
Are
not.
you
It's
sad
not.
you're not
It's just
Marty
that I've
Mush?
been
You're happy
talking.
you're not Marty
Yeah.
Mush?
Actually, maybe
Hey,
it's a
what-
good thing.
No, it's not that. It's just that I've been talking about the Bengals.
No, I hear you, dude. I'm just busting your balls. I hear you.
What was the voice thing? Did I just get my voice too close to my phone?
No, that was Meek. Meek just screamed. It's just
Oh,
a Meek
okay.
thing.
I wanted to make sure.
No.
all right. Peace out, fellas. Have a good day.
You too, bro.
When did he go to the Super Bowl? 2021?
Yeah.
He had an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
He had he had the career highs in almost everything.
Also, Meek, if you're
Meek,
gonna point out,
respond.
like, if you're gonna nitpick postseason
No, he
game
had a
long,
great year. I'm saying the playoffs.
I'm saying if you're gonna nitpick
that's a
postseason,
great year.
hold on. If you're gonna nitpick postseason numbers, think about it. The game slows down in the playoffs. Offense is not moving the same way it does in the regular season. Defense is better. You're playing against the best teams. No shit, his numbers are going to be there's going to be a drop off between the regular season. The only quarterback, well, I'm biased, but Rodgers' postseason run when they won the Super Bowl was fucking nuclear. He destroyed the Falcons, Eagles. Yeah, sure. It wasn't a Rodgers postseason run, but listen, he was still more than fine. He wasn't putting up Peyton Manning Broncos numbers. Like he was doing his job.
That's an unbelievable season.
That's
Well,
unbelievable. We're talking
He's
about the playoffs.
he's pointing towards the postseason.
Yeah, he had a great season. I thought it was a mid playoffs. I don't think it's a great
He
playoff
almost
run.
completed 70% of his passes.
We're talking about
Five to 2 touchdown to interception ratio.
so
He's only looking at the postseason.
how many playoff games did he play? 4. And he only threw 5 touchdowns.
I don't think that's like as big of a stretch as you think it is.
All right.
Like, if
Who
you're
is
just-
their running
if you're
back?
just playing the
Mix
game
him.
that you're supposed to
Mix.
win,
So
you
I
also
mean,
wanna play that compliment-
when you have a dynamic running game too, like you're balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Burrow's a top
If you're
5
also-
quarterback.
I'm just
also
not going to
getting
get on
sacked-
it for that. Like I expected that what you're
If you're
coming
getting
down for,
sacked-
I expected like 3 touchdowns, 6 picks or something like that. Like
If
he
you're
was
getting
fine.
sacked, if you're getting sacked a shit ton too, it's like probably like if we can only run the ball, like let's run the ball heavy. Let's control the tempo of this game. Like your game plan changes.
Yeah.
Want me to go to the next caller?
Yeah, sure.
Jimmy has a fantasy football question.
Fantasy football. I'm 0-3, so this is I'm a good person to talk to.
Well, first off, Hubs, I wanted to say great sweatshirt. I love the U.S. Open merch.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, keep the tennis content
Appreciate
coming.
you.
Yeah, so question, I have McCaffrey and Debo both on my bench. Curious what your guys' thoughts are, and now I'm 2-1 somehow, don't ask how, but I am 2-1, so I'm not dying for an immediate win, but I'm curious what you guys think about the possibility of trying to trade one of them or both of them for some very good value. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're asking the
weird
right
spot.
guy, but maybe the wrong guy because I made the wrong move maybe. But I had 1-1 in our office league. I took McCaffrey because you got to take McCaffrey.
Same.
My problem is this is my first time playing fantasy in about 6 or 7 years, so I was rusty. I didn't handcuff him with Mason, so that screwed me completely. So that's on me, and that's why my season's mainly if like I just can't get anything out of my running back. So what I did was I did trade McCaffrey. I packaged him with Drake London after his one good game. He obviously played well this past Sunday night, but it was before that. And I went and got Josh Jacobs because I needed to get, and Demarcus Robinson. So I needed to get a bell cow. Obviously, Josh Jacobs had a terrible game for the most part on Sunday. So I'm in disarray. But my advice was I didn't think, being 0-2 at the time, I was like, well, if McCaffrey comes back week 9, what good is that me if I'm 2-7 or whatever, 1-8? You know, so I got to try something. So I threw in McCaffrey to sweeten the deal basically with Marty. Just to get him, you know, because I don't think he's going to be useful for me. And now he's seeing a specialist in Germany. That's a disaster. But you can also convince who you're trying to trade with that he's going to get stem cells and he's going to come back, you know, rejuvenated and all of a sudden with this bionic ankle or whatever it is. So my advice would be to trade McCaffrey, but you're also 2-1, so you don't need to. And if you get McCaffrey back for the fantasy playoffs, then you have, you know, you're going to get such a shot in the arm. So I honestly wouldn't panic. But yeah, that's my take, and my take is probably bad because I'm 0-3.
Yeah, maybe I'll wait another week or two, but then the only danger is more news comes out about those players. So
right, you do run the risk of 100%. You do run the risk of, and that was kind of what I was banking on. I was hoping that like news would get worse, and then there goes McCaffrey's value of any trade. So I panicked, and that's what happens when you're 0-2 and you don't handcuff him with Mason. You face the consequences. My season's basically done.
All right, well, appreciate the advice. And you and Jack Mack killed the show today, just FYI.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Meek.
Anybody else? Or are you good?
Uncle Church.
Uncle Church.
Guys, that fella lied to y'all. Y'all are not doing a good job. I'm just kidding. It's not bad. But
All
let's
right.
recap. All right, look. Let's recap real quick. First, we talked about UNF.
All right, Dan is on.
Connection?
Yeah, he wants his connection. Dan, you're on. Do you want to talk about his parlays?
Okay.
Yep. Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up? What's going on?
Good. I've been, I'm a rookie gambler, so I've just survived off of $10 bets, plus 1,700 parlays. But I've been hitting this season. I got 2 free guys if you guys want to rip me apart / maybe ride. I don't know. Who knows?
Let's do it.
But
Let's hear it.
All right. I got Colts money line, Commanders money line, Raiders money line, Titans money line, 4-leg, plus 1,700, 10 to win 180.
Okay. Wait, go through it. So I like the Colts. I do like that pick. I don't think anyone's going to be on them this. I don't think anyone's going to be on them this week because how Richardson's looked and the Steelers' defense. But I think the Steelers are due for a stinker.
And I also think Tomlin as a favorite it's the ultimate fade spot. I just feel like he's always eating as a money line underdog, but then as like a 4-0 favorite, that's when he shits the bed. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like waiting. I'm praying on his downfall a little bit.
Okay.
You know?
What else is in there?
And then Commanders over the Cardinals. I just feel like the Cardinals stink. The Commanders are kind of hot.
I don't hate
know,
that
could be
either.
an overreaction.
Yep, I don't hate that.
But Raiders over the Browns. I think the Browns are bad, and the Raiders. There's no way you can lose after losing.
We're 3 for 3. I like all 3 of those so far.
And then the last one is Titans over the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
I just think,
that
like-
game. If you watch that game, you gotta let's find a hobby or something.
I
That's
don't know. I bet on
ugly.
the Mountain West at 11. I bet on the Mountain West at 11 p.m. I've bet on worse things. I think that the
Fair enough.
Dolphins with Skylar Thompson are insanely bad, and I think
Well,
that
your only
if you
problem
do
is
look
if they start Snoop, then you're screwed because Huntley can actually do things.
But if you look at the numbers, though, I feel like every 0-2 and every 0-3 team coming off being that, though, is like going to be insane because like NFL players have enough pride not to suck ass after going 0-2 and 0-3.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. No, hey, dude, I like that parlay. Nothing wrong with that.
But then one last one.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is crazy, but college one: Kansas State -5.5, Ole Miss -17.5 over Kentucky, Oregon -24 over UCLA,
Mm-hmm.
and then Utah -12.5 over Arizona.
Cool.
I think all those spots are just like each of those teams they're playing are all bad. I think each of those teams are just going to smoke them. So
I hear you. I like it. Best of luck, man. I appreciate you.
yep. Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for the call.
Cool. Have a good one. Later.
You too.
Okay, so we got about like 8 minutes left here. Nestor Cortez is going to MRI in his elbow, so I woke up to good news with that. I'll talk a little Yankees. Aaron Boone's a moron. Gleyber Torres is a terrible base runner, so that's all fun. The Yankees need to win one game, with Orioles lose one game to clinch the AL East. Hopefully it happens tonight. The Mets, we're gonna see if they get this game in. They really need to win this game to counter yesterday, weather permitting.
I mean, yeah, it all comes down to the weather.
It's crazy that it goes down to the weather.
It also is just like unbelievable that this is happening again.
Are you annoyed that Truist doesn't have a retractable
Nah.
roof?
I mean,
One
if
of
it's
those?
retractable, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a hurricane coming in.
Could've- Yeah, I guess you couldn't get those.
Also, I
How are people
mean,
getting there?
Yeah,
also,
true.
Truist will never have that. They're cheap fucks over there.
Oh, but I always have if you build a new stadium, like moderate, that should just have a retractable roof.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Cohen wants to put one over the top of
City.
Hey,
Well, the
hey,
problem is,
hey.
you know, that costs. It's way more expensive to do that after the fact than during.
I know,
I'm pretty
but
sure
it-
during the process of building City, it would have been $600 million. Now after the fact, it's over $1 billion to add a roof.
But the upside of being able to have concerts there is probably huge.
Huge.
In the winter.
You hate roofs?
Hate
Why?
Anti-roof?
anti-roof.
Okay.
All right.
You know
I mean,
why? You know why?
You like
I'm a
the
good-
elements.
I'm a good weather guy.
Also, it could be
Just why not have
retractable.
good weather?
It could be
No,
retractable.
Hate.
All
No,
right.
I do get what Dukes is saying. Like, when you watch an October baseball game in like Houston or Texas,
Yeah, no, you're
it
right.
doesn't feel like October because
It's
everyone's
No,
wearing
no.
short sleeves.
My dumb
get
brain
that.
thinks there's no
Retractable.
hormones. No retractable. Like I don't want that to be a fucking option.
All right. Fine. You
You
win.
know who has it really good? SoFi.
Isn't that a roof?
It is like a semi-roof. Like it's outdoor.
Retractable.
No.
No?
no, it's like a fake roof.
It's like
Fake roof.
There's real air coming in.
Okay. All right.
It's very hard to explain unless you see it.
It's like can get cold in there. Like
Yes.
during the TCU Georgia National Championship, it was very cold in there, and
Yes.
nobody expected it
Yes, it's not a dome. It might perceive to be a dome, but it's not.
because there's no windows on the outside.
Correct. It's like something weird like that. Like I went.
Like
for a
that-
concert.
So rain comes in if it rains?
No.
I'm sure if it's raining fucking sideways.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen in
Yeah,
LA.
that's not gonna happen.
Did have U.S. Open. Louis Armstrong is the second big stadium there, and it does have like slits basically, and rain was coming in sideways
Really?
like 2 years ago. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's a
I
disaster.
that was one of the things about Arthur Ashe is like I couldn't believe that it was retractable because when I went in at first it was.
Did you hate it because it was retractable?
Yeah,
I
he
hated that
told
it was
me.
closed, but I was okay that it was retractable.
Okay.
It made
Told me
sense.
he hated
It
that it
made
was-
sense.
And his tournaments
It
get
made
ruined
sense.
with rain.
Yes.
Ruined.
Yes, it made sense for the U.S. Open. With baseball should only be played in sunshine.
Okay.
So like just even like having the
Only
op-
sunshine.
Yes, even like the option.
So
of
if it's
playing-
cloudy, you would postpone the game?
I'd play.
Okay.
I'll let it play.
Okay.
I want to talk. Can I say something about the NBA really
Yeah,
quick?
do it.
Did anybody see what Jaylen Brown said about?
Yeah.
That was the
The
one of
Pistons?
about the Pistons.
Yeah, Greeny didn't have it in his roundup blog. There was 2,000 words of Celtics media day. He missed the biggest quote. I was like,
Bro,
dude,
what happened?
What are you doing?
What happened to Shireman?
Oh my God.
He went to Dorchester.
That was
he legitimately got Southie pussy for the first time and was like, he's like, I'm in love with this shit.
went to
Seems
one
like he put on
bar.
like 30 pounds.
Yeah. His chin is like.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a stud.
I mean, I loved him at Creighton. And where the fuck was he before? I loved him there too.
South Dakota State.
Yeah. Jack. Yeah.
The Celtics, and then Drew fucking Kendrick Perkins being like, nobody in the NBA thinks that the Celtics are a threat. That motherfucker should hand back his 08 ring. Fuck him to the depths of hell.
He does his job well. He gets you angry.
I said this yesterday. I forget. Maybe it was on the bracket or something. I love being pissed off, so I do appreciate. I'm most comfortable when I'm mad.
Yeah, you said you don't want comfort TV. You want to be like stressed the entire time.
Yeah, like I like
and fights looked at
fucking
you
pissed.
like you had 7 heads.
Yeah, I like being mad at people. So
That was a good bracket. If you is that out yet? I don't know if it's out yet. Whenever it comes out, listen to it.
Also in NBA news, the Warriors signed Kevin Knox.
Oh
So
my
in NBA
god!
news, Mitchell Robinson out till January. You guys are fucked.
Well, we
That's-
knew that.
yeah, we
that
knew
was
that.
that came out last week.
That's not.
Do you guys
That,
talk about it? You guys are fucked.
that's
No,
No,
the thing
no real
is,
we have so much depth. You guys are gonna get
No, we-
fucking.
their
railroaded.
issue is the guys they want to trade for, they pretty much can't trade for until around then.
Yeah.
That's the
don't
problem.
wanna trade
Like a Valanciunas, the dude Walker Kessler. There's one other guy.
Nick Richards, who I
Yeah,
like.
I guess Capella they could get right now.
You're talking Nick Richards.
Who I like.
We're gonna play small ball. Randall at the 5. How long that lasts?
And I mean, a lineup like that, it could be a difference.
I
in
love
the playoff
Josh.
series if it works.
I love Josh Hart's tweet. He's like, I'm a 1 through 4. Just let everyone know I'm not a 5. You know, his Tibbs is gonna throw him at the 5.
Also, the team you are in basketball in October, November, December. It's not the team you are in like May.
Yep, but the seed is.
Yeah.
Still, I can't believe Greeny didn't put that
That's
put
very
that
hilarious.
Jalen Brown.
That's unbelievable.
I'll tell you this about a Greeny blog. A Greeny puts out a blog. I will be there no matter what. I am the biggest Greeny Jerry Thornton reader of all time.
At least someone's there for Greeny.
Hey, Greeny
That
does
was
good
not
work.
nice.
Greeny
That
does
was
good
nice.
work.
Greeny is.
Greeny's a grinder.
And Greeny puts up like you talk about like NBA Twitter. That guy is.
That guy runs
Yeah.
Celtics
Yeah.
That
Twitter.
guy.
Yeah.
He like
His engagement's
real
big time.
Celtics fans were like when they saw Hank and Dave and Gaz on the float, they were like, "This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Greeny should be there more than Hank." Like people were fucking pissed, and I'm not like it was like the people that are like Celtics Green Unite, like shit like that,
Yeah.
like those Twitter accounts.
It
I
should have
was
been
fucking-
Greeny on Missoula's
Yeah.
couch.
That'd been unreal. Can you imagine? Like he just takes. He's like hiding. He takes his hood off. And it's just Greeny. He's next to Tatum.
Missoula also being fucking rated. I'm just ranting about the Celtics now. Missoula being rated the 11th best coach in the NBA. Bullshit.
That's just dumb.
That's stupid.
Stupid.
I
That's all I
agree.
have. That's my Celtics.
All right, Celtics. The Celtics.
Who rated that? Like the players?
Fucking CBS Sports, the guy that fucking was like.
All right, you're just looking to get angry. Like you said, you just say like, who's anti-Celtics today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
I will say it's one of the most disrespected NBA championship winning teams ever.
It's fucking crazy. Shaq is like, nobody respects them. Nobody
Yeah.
respects them. It's like, you fucking picked against them in the NBA championship,
Right.
you fucking idiot.
Right.
No. I won one of my biggest bets last year was the Celtics NBA Finals.
Yep, that. I'm on UConn 4.5 wins for one of my biggest.
Well, that's already hit. UConn football's good.
Yeah.
They were coming for your ass in November.
Well, we play UNLV in 2 weeks now. No Sluka.
Well, November in the Dome.
I really
UConn's
wish we
coming.
beat Stanford and blow that fucking game. God damn it. I mean, they
Yeah,
didn't really
that
blow it. They were
sucks.
just losing.
That was a brutal.
just a
loss.
bad
Stanford is just not very good.
Just bad. They were 9.5-point favorite.
Hey,
at
it's
home.
grow. But here's the thing: it's growing pains with the new coach.
It is.
Can I also say something really quick? I'm not used to conference realignment at all. Like, I didn't even.
Hey, you better get used to it because UConn football only Pac-12 is coming,
That's
and
crazy.
it's going to be electric.
But, like, even Stanford Q's,
Yeah.
hand up, I was like, oh, non-con.
Yeah. 100%. Especially on a Friday, too. It felt non-con. on a
Also,
Friday.
Stanford's jerseys were disgusting.
Yeah.
They also, I think they have good jerseys, just the classic red and white, like in with the Stanford tree. You don't have to get more special
Yeah,
than that.
you just think Andrew Luck when you see those jerseys.
Yeah. Or
Throwing
Toby
a-
Gerhardt.
Yep.
So, I mean, but then again, Syracuse is fine. UConn's,
best
Dukes
team.
has it over 4.5. UConn's going to hit the over 4.5, which is great. And yeah, we'll go for there. And then basketball's upon us. Is Syracuse going to make the tournament?
Dude, we have the best prospect since Melo this year. Donnie Freeman.
All right, nice.
5-star monster. Making me almost want to go back and see a game. I haven't been back in a while.
I'm
So
really
we'll-
excited for college basketball.
Looking at the schedule. Looks fun. Yeah, we're
It's
trying to map
creeping
it out
up
yesterday.
hard. First day.
Big time.
Kim English.
NBA is creeping up. NBA's in a month.
Kim English murdered Georgetown basketball program.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
He was like,
That was a great
he
way
also
to.
was like, I don't want any friars on my ass. Maybe the greatest liar of all time. How he was like, I don't know where that AI went to Georgetown.
Yeah.
Dude, yes.
Yeah, wait, that's crazy.
You were 7 years old, lived in the DMV when AI was at Georgetown. You liked him on the 76ers. You saw all the introductions.
Yeah.
You had to have seen the iconic AI Georgetown jersey. Like, get the fuck out of here.
That's terrible.
Still a funny dunk. He's like, yeah, I like Georgetown up until I wanted to go to Georgetown up until I saw that nobody went to the games
Jesus.
on the first day of college basketball practice. But that's all we have.
All right. Should we wrap it up?
Providence better make the fucking
survive the
tournament
now.
this year.
Providence is
If
in.
they don't, I think they may need to shut down the program.
I will say this, and I'm a
And they got to
Friars
win
guy.
a game.
I'm a Friars guy. I'm a Flyer, but I respect Providence. They are united as a fan base right now on all fronts because their Twitter community came all the way up and they are powerful. They're one of the best fan bases on college basketball Twitter, no doubt, because they're all on the same page. And the same page is Kim English is God and Ed Cooley's the devil, and they fucking hate Ed Cooley. But I'll tell you this. You know what makes a fan base turn on each other faster than anything? Losing. And if they miss out on the tournament twice after consistently making the tournament for years, that will be very interesting to see how they react to the Kim English thing. That's all I have to say.
Sounds good. All right. Jack, anything else? I appreciate you hanging around for the hour. You definitely need to do that, but I very
Yeah, no, sorry. I had to take a phone call. Really.
Oh, you're good, man.
Came back. This was fun. Thanks to
Yeah.
everyone who stuck around.
Hopefully it wasn't too bad for everyone who listens. You're normally to Mush, Rico, Smitty, Clemmer. Well, it's definitely better than Clemmer. Yankees got to win tonight. Let's clinch. Let's pop some champagne, and then I will hopefully not have to worry about them for another week and a half. That's Pick Central. We'll be back tomorrow. Later.